Hey everyone, it is time for Saturday scrapbooking. So I'm starting with two 12 by 12 white linen sheets, and I have these gorgeous pictures from Boulders Beach. This is where the penguins are, but these ones are just the scenery without any penguins. But I just love that scenery. That picture right here, I got this one printed on canvas and it is hanging in my house. I just love it so much. And this here, if you see that little crack, that little spot there, we had to crawl through that. And when you crawl through, this is the view you see. It was worth the little crawl through there. So that's my general idea of a layout. And I have this paper pack that, I don't know, I picked up somewhere along the way. This one actually might have been at the dollar store, I think. And I'm going to use this sheet here. And I just want to, and actually that sheet I'm going to use as well. But this one here, I just wanted to cut some strips to go along the sides. So I wanted a thinner strip on the left side, and I thought I wanted a wider strip on the right, but I will eventually cut a smaller one for that side as well. I'm just kind of lining the pictures up, and one of those pictures needed to be trimmed a bit, so I just chose the middle one and just trimmed a tiny little bit off of there. And then this bottom picture on this side, I'm actually going to cut into 4 even pieces. I have done that before years ago in a scrapbook, but I haven't done it in this one, and I kind of like the look of it. So just gonna line it up and just leaving a little bit of white space in between. And as I laid it there, I thought I like it, but it needs something behind it. So I just grabbed out a piece of cardstock that I thought might work. And I'm just checking the size so that I can trim that cardstock down and see how that works. And I like it, but I think I could find a better one. So that sheet that was in the original pack, I decided to use that one instead because it has more of the colors that fit. So I'll just trim that down, and it's a decent size, so I'm going to line those up. But I figured, I want a smaller space in between the pictures, so I probably don't need that long of a piece. So I trimmed it down, which was a mistake because I will eventually go back and make a bigger piece. And this is where, as I was kind of lining things up, I was realizing that piece was a little short to fit nicely with the two top pictures. And then I also decided I want a thinner piece on the right-hand side. So I cut that, and still I'm like, I shouldn't have cut that bottom matte layer so small. So I cut another one and lining them up again. But if I put them kind of evenly on there, I thought the spaces were a little too wide, so I will fix that. This ephemera is from 49 and Market. It is the Essential Film Strips Hickory, and I'm just kind of playing around with where some of that should go, but I figured that was some good ephemera to put down on this layout because this is just literally taking beautiful scenery pictures. And there were a couple little individual film strips there, and I have some extra pictures that I thought I would cut little tiny pictures out and have those as little frames in there. So I'm going to speed this up a lot more while I trim these down. And of course, in true me fashion, I am not measuring anything. I am just eyeballing it. So I wanted to make sure that I got the right frame of picture in there and have it small enough so it doesn't overlap the edges so that it looks neat and tidy. So it did take me a bit to get them all trimmed down, but originally I wasn't going to use those extra pictures. I was just going to have just the blank film strips on there, and then I saw those little ones and thought, you know what, I should just cut these out and that would be just kind of a cool, different effect. But I did want 3 of them, and I only had 2, but there's these wider or longer film strip pieces. So I tried cutting them down with my trimmer, but they're like acetate and I don't know, they just didn't cut so nicely, so I ended up using scissors. So just trimming that last one down. And I think we're just about done. Okay, now to play around with this and see how those actually look. And again, I wasn't quite sure where to place them, so I'm just kind of laying them down in a few spots. I'm going to move that picture up so that I can put one at the bottom. And the top empty white space there is where my title is going to go, which I think I'm going to work on soon. Just kind of move things around a little bit more, I guess. But the title, I'm going to use this alphabet sticker sheet out of an old sticker book. Clearly, I'm not doing that yet. I thought I was. Anyways, I am first going to adhere this strip down onto the left side. And then I think I'm going to stick my pictures down. Okay, get them all straight there. I figured I would do the top one and the bottom one, and then fit the middle one in. And I am mostly just using my tape runner for this page. I used the tape runner for the pattern paper strip and also for the photos. Now I realized this one needed to be trimmed down just a tiny bit more. It was kind of overlapping a little bit. I think I've got it now. So now I'll stick that one in place. And then here's where I went ahead and already stuck down off camera all of those letters to spell out Boulders Beach, because that was a little time consuming. And then I'll work on the next page. This place was absolutely beautiful. We spent, I don't know how long we spent actually, a few hours at least at Boulders Beach, because we saw there were a couple penguins right at the beginning that we saw. And then we went and saw this little area of the beach that didn't have penguins, and it was just beautiful views. So we took some pictures. Like I said, we climbed through that little rock tunnel to see the views. Here I am taking some weathered wood distress oxide ink and just inking up the edges, and you can see when I hold it over the white page there, it just adds a little bit of depth and dimension to it. So just wanted to do that. But anyways, back to Boulders Beach. We did enjoy the views there. It was gorgeous. And then I think next week's videos are going to show some more of the penguins' habitat and then some more of the penguins. So just lining all of this up again. And I wanted to make sure the spacing between that cut up picture was nice. To me, it looks a little nicer if it's a little closer together. So I was just bringing out my T-square ruler and just making sure it was even. And then I wanted to, like I said, put them a little bit closer together just to, I don't know, make it stand out as it's that one picture that's cut up. So I like that better. So I'm just going to space things out properly there and then add the ephemera pieces back on where I think I might want them. I wasn't 100% settled, and so for me, I like to kind of set it there, do something else for a little moment, and then come back and look at it and see, do I actually like this? Do I need to change anything? So just working on a little bit of placement, of course having some coffee. And then I will work at sticking the last photo down on the left page, I guess after I move a few more things around. So I'll make sure that photo is straight. And adhere that one down. And then I decided, what if I put two pictures on that side? And I liked that a lot better. So I'm going to stick the little photo down, stuck that down with the glue tape, and then I'm using my art glitter glue to adhere the frame in place, making sure it's straight there, and then I will do the same thing with that other picture. line that frame up nicely. And I am really happy with how that turned out. I thought that was a good idea. Now onto this page, looking at it again, thinking, you know what, I think I like this. So I'm going to start adhering things down. So I wanted to add the little film strips down in place. And then that paper, and I think, yes, stick the next film strip down in place. And then I believe I will add the two top photos, straighten those out, and then I will use again that glue tape to stick those in place. Again, just eyeballing them to make sure they're straight-ish, straight enough for me anyways. And then here I'm bringing the T-square ruler in again so that I can line up those 4 little strips of photo. And I'm also quite pleased with how this one turned out. I remember the first time I ever did this with a photo, I was so terrified because it was before the days of digital cameras and I didn't want to wreck my picture, but I really wanted to accomplish that look, and yeah, it was scary, but it worked out. So now I'm sticking that tiny photo down, and then I will glue the frame in place there as well. I wasn't quite sure how this was going to turn out at first because I didn't have a lot of ephemera that I thought would go well with these pictures, but then I found these little 49 market frames and I am quite happy with them. So this is the finished layout. There's a closer up look of that page. I love those little framed pictures. And then the second page, I thought about adding another little like sub-sentiment or something on there, but I thought, you know what? Just let the pictures speak for themselves and leave it. Sometimes less is more. If you have enjoyed this, I would appreciate a like, and if you want to see more, consider subscribing. Anyways, thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful, peaceful day.